Hello my friends, and welcome back to another video. My name is Amanda and welcome to my kitchen. In today's video, I'm just going to take you along on a day of what I eat. Honestly, I'm not really feeling all that great today. I kind of feel like I'm in a little bit of a funk. I haven't really been eating very well, and I thought maybe that if I take you guys along on a vlog, maybe I will eat a little bit healthier and just kind of help lift my spirits by making good food for myself. So I just wanted to bring you along. So I just wanted to take a second to thank you guys for tuning in, let you know what this video is about, and get into breakfast. Today we are going to be making some oatmeal along with this delicious latte, which I can't wait to just sit down and read for a little bit and enjoy. And then honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna make for breakfast. I do know what I'm gonna make for dinner though, but that will be a surprise. So let's get on to it. So I am starting out my day with some AG1, which I do every morning. And then we are jumping right into breakfast. I'm going to make a spiced pear oatmeal bowl. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of saute some pears with some spices, some cinnamon, a little bit of vegan butter, and then make some oatmeal and top that maybe with some nuts if I have them, and enjoy. So first step, I'm using a one pot situation here. So I have a little bit of vegan butter, about a tablespoon, and then I have maybe a tablespoon of brown sugar and a little bit of cinnamon. And then I'm also going to add some nutmeg and cardamom in here. I'm just going to saute the pears until they're a little bit soft. A little bit of freshly grated nutmeg, just a bit, and I'm going to top it when it's all done with a little bit more. So I think I let these cook for about 5 minutes or so just to get soft and kind of caramelize a little bit. And the little pieces are going to get mixed into the oats, and then these bigger ones are going to be on top. And now that my pears are to like the softness that I like, I'm going to add in 2/3 cup of plant milk. I'm using soy. And then I'm also going to add just a pinch of salt. And we're going to bring this to a boil and then add our oats. Now that our milk is to a boil, I'm going to stir in 1/2 cup of quick cook oats. I'm using quick cook oats today just because, well, they take less time to cook. And they take about 3 minutes. So I'm going to put the lid on and let this simmer for 3 minutes, and then we'll top it off. And then optionally, you can stir in some protein powder. I know this is backwards because I have my front-facing camera on. I'm shooting on my phone. You could stir in a scoop of protein powder if you wanted to up the protein content. I'm actually going to add a little scoop of this maca powder in. I try to eat this every day, whether it's in a smoothie or in my coffee or in my oats, just for the added benefits of that. Yeah, this is the maca powder. I just got it on Thrive. And this is just like your basic protein powder unsweetened. I know there's a lot out there. If you have any recommendations for protein powder, let me know in the comments below, because I'm not like a super big fan of this, but it is what it is. All right, so the oatmeal has thickened, and honestly, I left the heat on a little too high, and I definitely burned the bottom because of all that sugar that was in there. So whoops-a-daisy, but it is nice and cooked. All right, so I am just going to add this to my bowl and then finish topping it just because I kind of screwed it up. But I mean, it's okay. This is not going to be fun to clean. Wait until later and I'll let you know if I actually got all of this crap out of the bottom of the pan. Like, whoops. That's what happens when you decide to make breakfast when you're hungry and then are also filming it. But you know, there are worse things that could happen. So the first thing I'm going to add is just a tiny drizzle of maple syrup just to make it a tiny bit sweeter. And then I'm also going to add in just a little bit of maca powder, about a 1/4 teaspoon. And I can't really taste it when I add it into things like this. So, I mean, you do you. If it's not something that you want to add, you definitely don't have to. It's just something I'm trying to incorporate into my diet. Then I'm going to add some chopped pistachios and chopped cranberries just for a little texture variance. And let's be real. I mean, this doesn't look all that great, but you know what? It's okay. We're going to make it look pretty with our toppings, and it's going to be delicious. Topping it off with those pears and then just a little bit more cranberries and pistachios. Definitely not my prettiest meal, but you know what? That's just what it is today. I'm hungry. And you know, it's amazing what some better lighting will do. That doesn't look so bad now. So this is our spiced pear pistachio cranberry oatmeal for breakfast this morning. Then before we get too much further in the day, it is time to make a latte, and I have some soy milk, which I just heated up in the microwave because I didn't feel like getting out my frother. I'm going to add in my shot of espresso. Also been adding in this Focus Four Sigmatic blend, a little bit of raw sugar, and of course some cinnamon, because that is my favorite. So after my latte, I just wanted to chill out a little bit and do some reading. So I decided to hang out with the dogs, and this is the book that I'm reading. It's very interesting. I know it's not for everybody, but it really is thought-provoking, no pun intended. So I sat and read for just a little bit while I finished my latte, and then I decided that I wanted to do some yoga. Don't mind the dog hairs. I have 2 dogs, like there's always dog hair. So this is how I wanted to do yoga, just kind of taking some time to get back to myself because, like I said earlier, I really wasn't feeling very good on this day. Like I just felt kind of disconnected, and I struggle a lot with spending time with myself, intentional time, giving myself time to just be present, just enjoy the moment, kind of settle into the reality of what my life is. I get very wrapped up into my mind and my thoughts, and it's very distracting, and sometimes that makes me sad. So I thought tuning into my body would give me an opportunity to just reconnect to myself and be more present in that moment. And I find that taking a few breaths to myself, moving my body, just giving myself that time to physically connect the body and the mind and the movement just brings a sense of peace and calming. And it was just a nice little reset in that moment. And it just kind of brought me back to the fact that, you know what, this is the moment that I'm in and it's okay. And then I let the dogs inside because the reality of it is I also have these wonderful, loving, playful creatures in my life. So this is the reality of what it's actually like to try and do yoga with the dogs around. This is Maya. She just turned 1 in July, and she is still getting used to the fact that when mom does yoga, you can't play and do yoga at the same time. But you know what? She's learning, and it's all good. So I, as you see, ended up getting her ball stuck in my hair. But you know what? I love them, and I'm so grateful to have them as companions in my life. It's just a reminder to kind of enjoy the moment, and I think that kind of fits in with what I was saying earlier, because if you have a dog, you know, like dogs are just always right now. They're in the moment. All that matters is you and what's going on, and I think we could learn a lot from our pets in that regard. So I decided to take them out for a walk just to get some fresh air for both of our sakes, and it was really nice. They're still getting used to walking on the leash together, but after like the 3rd round on our cul-de-sac, they started to do good. And then I had some popcorn for a snack while I got ready for lunch. Also, one of my new favorite snacks is just a piece of bread with some plant butter and everything bagel seasoning on it. So I'm about to smash that as a snack while I get ready to make lunch. Hey, so I cleaned up the kitchen, and update on the pan, I was able to get it clean. I just dripped water everywhere because I just washed it, but that's fine. So I was able to get the pan clean from the oatmeal. And for lunch, we're kind of doing like a stir fry, like a hodgepodge thing. I realized earlier I said I don't know what I'm doing for breakfast, but I meant I don't know what I'm doing for lunch. And now I do. So we're going to do a little hodgepodge stir fry just to get some veggies in. So I'll show you what we got. So I have this leftover little bit of rice and these not beef, like Korean style beef things from Trader Joe's, which 10 out of 10 highly recommend. I will leave the name of them in the description box below. They were really good. And then I'm just going to stir fry the veggies I have in the fridge right now. So we have some kale, Brussels sprouts, carrots, and asparagus, lots of green. So let's get that chopped and start sauteing away. Ta-da! So I did Brussels sprouts, carrot, asparagus. I also chopped up some onions and garlic. So let's heat up our pan and get cooking. So once our pan is hot, we're gonna add just a little bit of oil, let that heat up for a minute. Then we're gonna add in the asparagus, carrot, onions, and garlic. I'm gonna add the kale a little bit later because I don't wanna overcook it. A little bit of salt and pepper. I got a medium-low heat for this pan here, and then I am eventually going to add some of this teriyaki pre-made sauce just to make things easy. So I kind of feel like one of the reasons I haven't been eating very good lately is I've been like overcomplicated cooking. Like I feel like I always have to follow a recipe to eat something healthy or it's not going to taste good. But like honestly, as long as you season your food, it's probably going to be okay. Like I don't normally combine these vegetables in a stir fry, but these are the vegetables that sounded good when I was at the store, and I'm gonna do like a roasted veggie like sheet pan later in the week. So you know what, that's just how it's gonna be. And like sometimes you just have to roll with that. And I think that that is a great way to look at home cooking, especially if you are trying to eat healthier or eat in a way that's a little bit different. Like that was one of the struggles I had when I first went vegan, is that I thought I had to make these super elaborate meals all the time, and I realized that I'm not actually eating enough food, and like this might not even be enough food, but like I'm not really hungry, and it's my dad's birthday today, so he's coming over for dinner and we're probably going to eat early. But either way, you know, you just have to listen to your gut, literally eat intuitively, and definitely make sure you eat until you're satisfied and just fill your plate with color. And I think that that is a great way to kind of balance your diet and eat happy and healthy. So this has been going for like, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. I'm gonna add in the rice and those leftover beefless beef pieces, just so those get warmed through, and just kind of give everything a stir and let that heat through for like a minute or so. And then I'm gonna add my kale. I'm gonna go in with my kale. Get that a little bit of a stir. I'm gonna go in with just a little drizzle of this pre-made teriyaki. Give it a stir to coat some of the veggies. Maybe a little bit more. Don't be afraid of flavor. And then I'm just gonna let this cook for like 30 to 60 more seconds, just so everything gets nice and incorporated. And I probably could have done a little less sauce, but all that means is it's gonna taste really good, so that's great. So really, at the end of the day, food does not have to be complicated. You just have to eat the things that you like and that make you feel good. And honestly, I think the more that we focus on fueling our bodies in a way that feels good, the more likely that we are to eat those foods that taste good and that feel good and that are good for us. And this lunch took like maybe 15 minutes to make because, like, you know, I'm filming and all I really had to do was chop a few things, saute a few things, and we're good to go. And that looks great, smells great, and I'm so happy about it. And then I decided to pour myself a little glass of wine in my super fun mug or cup, and then work on dessert for my dad's birthday. So I was making a little like mini apple crumble. So I diced up some apples and added about a tablespoon of butter into my pan, followed by like a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a big sprinkle of cinnamon, and a little bit of salt, and then kind of sauteed these just until the apples softened a little bit and became a little bit caramelized. Then I had this pre-made pie crust in my freezer that like I really needed to use up. So I thought, perfect opportunity. I used a wide mouth mason jar to cut out circles, and this actually ended up being the perfect size. I wasn't sure if it was gonna work or not, but it ended up being like just enough to be a little tart. So I sprayed my muffin pan and then added in those circles that I cut with the mason jar, because you know, you gotta use what you have. I don't have a circle cookie cutter, so it worked great. Added in the filling that I had made, and then on top of that I just sprinkled a little bit of rolled oats to do kind of like a crumble topping, and then sprinkled that with just a little bit of cinnamon and sugar. I wanted this to be like not super sweet, but like just a nice, somewhat decadent dessert. And then I baked this in the oven, which I had preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes or so. Just keep an eye on it, and once they are nice and golden brown, they are done. Yum. This was really good, and you could always add icing, but I didn't think it needed it. And then we're rolling right into dinner. I started out by making some roasted potatoes. So I chopped up some red potatoes and then added those into a bowl with a good drizzle of avocado oil, gave that a shake to distribute the oil, and then added in my seasonings. Again, I sometimes just measure with my heart. So here's what we were doing. I added some garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper, and then gave that all a nice stir until everything was combined. And I usually like stir it up, and if it looks like it needs more seasoning, then I add it, but it seemed pretty good. So then I added this onto my baking tray, and then into the oven it went, which was now preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and I cooked these for about half an hour, flipping halfway through just to make sure that everything gets evenly toasted. And then after the potatoes, I started on the main event, which is our tofu. So we are making tofu parmesan. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to make this for a really long time, and here we are. So I pressed 1 block of extra firm tofu, which I previously had frozen and defrosted. Then I cut it into 4 slabs and then set that aside. And then here we are setting up our breading station, which consists of soy milk and cornstarch. Then whisk that together until it is nice and combined, and then add breadcrumbs. And then on the third section, we're doing a seasoned flour mixture. This flour mixture is just seasoned with Italian seasoning, garlic powder, and onion powder. And I did about, I would say like a half a teaspoon of each. And then I added a little bit of salt and pepper in both the breadcrumb mixture and the flour mixture, and then gave that a good stir to combine. And here, my friends, is where I made an error. What you want to do is actually have the flour station first. Flour, wet, and then breadcrumbs. And I was feeling really overwhelmed making dinner because like my dad was over, and I was making a separate meal for my dad and Brandon because they're not vegan. And I just got distracted. So see how it didn't really stick? I realized that, and I'm like, okay, let's try this again. So flour first to get all the edges nice and coated with the flour, then go into your wet mixture, whether it's like milk or like a faux egg wash, whatever. Then you go into the breadcrumbs. So then the breadcrumbs will actually stick to the tofu. Ta-da! And make sure you get all of the sides in there, and then just repeat this process with all of the tofu slabs, and then you'll have a nicely breaded piece of tofu. So I made an error, I adjusted, and honestly, I kind of dipped it in what was left of the soy milk and added more breadcrumbs, and you didn't even know that I messed that one up. And then I had some oil preheated in my skillet and added these right in there and cooked them for like about 3 minutes until they were nice and golden brown. And you could do this in the oven if you don't want to like do so much oil. Just give it a little bit of a spritz, and I would say probably 400, like 20-ish minutes, flip halfway through, just check, and you know, just see what looks good. You never know, depending on your oven and the temperature, like you just gotta kind of keep an eye on things and adjust as you go. And then here I'm trying to very carefully get like those odd sides of the tofu. It was definitely a little bit challenging, but I ended up making it work. And then lastly, we are going to remove those from the pan once they are nice and golden, add them to a baking sheet, and then pour on some of this liquid mozzarella. You can also use shreds, but I got this to make pizza not that long ago, and it was so delicious that I thought this would be a great option. And then you're gonna pop this under the broiler until it looks like this. Each oven might be different, so just keep a close eye on it, like a couple minutes or so. I added some marinara sauce and served this up with my potatoes and some steamed broccoli. This was really good. So I really hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me today. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.